What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Time Is Now. This is episode 6, 5 or 6. Title will tell you. The last one we ended with the lip. I'm kind of back, like the swelling has come down to the point I can talk now, which is good enough. Still in a lot of pain. The issue is where I got the stitches, it like rests perfectly on my bottom canine. So I'm just constantly fucking aggravating it. But it's all good, the swelling is gone and I can talk now. So I wanted to do a pull walkthrough. We've done the push, we've done the legs. So I wanted to do a pull walkthrough so you guys can kind of understand where we're going through, what we're thinking about, how we're trying to target the muscle. But of course, how we're adapting as we get very low in body weight and tired, you know. So first up, on pull day, abs. So one thing you'll notice on here, what I'm doing is I'm flexing at the spine, not the hips. I'm bending at the spine, not the hips, and that's how you want to flex the abs while breathing out hard when you contract. So we don't train abs for any other reason on pull day other than like it's just the day we do it. Works out across the week, and when I prescribe ab and calf training, I'm usually saying do it every other session, but don't let it interfere with the following session. So if you smash your calves like the day before legs, for example, and your calves are hurting, like that's a bit silly. So, you know, try and just vary it so that it makes sense. Obviously calves on leg day. Abs, I've got rest day tomorrow, so it kind of makes sense to do it now. So that's literally it. We do it the first because otherwise we get tired and forget it. So first exercise here, you guys would have seen us do single arm D handle for a very long time. We're at the point now where fatigue's quite high. Also time is of the essence. We still want to create the same stimulus. So what we're going to do is we're going to load actually the dual handle D handles here. And we're going to use the one of our like adjustable, I don't even want to call it adjustable D, we call it the adjustable D handle bar because you put D handles on it and you can adjust how wide you go. We're going to put it on the widest. We're going to think about lat focus. We're going to load up with the gym pin anyway, but we're going to literally do that same motion as the single arm, just a little bit more efficiently with more weight and get through the workout a little bit more efficiently for us. At this point, we're focusing on muscle retention, not building. So as long as we are stimulating enough, we're okay, and obviously burning enough calories as well. So guys, one thing I want you guys to know, and Louis is doing this really, really well here, is that he's not taking that tension off the lats. There is no extension through the shoulder that's kind of taking onto that passive tissue through the, you know, all of that, you know, that tissue that moves that shoulder forward. Instead, keeping it just in line with that lat the whole time. You see, as soon as that tension's about to go, tension comes back on and elbows drive right through. So think about that when you're doing lats. So much like the pull down you just saw, we're gonna do the exact same for the row right now. Now, these two exercises actually, you can do in pretty much any gym because any gym has a cable, right? Buy yourself a little bar like that, or if not, you can actually just loop handles over the lat pull down bars, and you can do those types of pull downs really, really simple. And they're gonna just align the joint better. You're gonna get a bigger contraction, a deeper contraction, and you can do it anywhere. That's the important thing here. We don't have any other equipment. You guys have seen me in other gyms where we've had nautilus rows and cybex rows and all these different rows. Don't have that here. So we're going back to basics, and this is to show you the basics work very, very well. So we're gonna do this with the row now. Come on. Good. Ready, go. Yep. Yeah.
Good man.
I was just saying to Louis that like I feel so small. I want to put my hoodie back on. Physique battles, those body dysmorphias, they still feel very real, no matter kind of what level you get at. And like I feel super flat today. And it's you get in your own head. I still think I'm at that level now where I can take myself away from that, put myself in the real world and realize where I am. But I'm in a very specific environment where I'm trying to exceed the best that I can. So I almost have to be that anal about it. Take note of these things. It's important to know that I'm flat right now, and it's important to know why. You know, when you're trying to create the best look possible, it's important to know why you feel and look a certain way, and then you can recreate the opposite of this. Or if this look, or if for me this is amazing, recreate this.
Fucking give it a squeeze. Try and get something out of it. Come on. New low coming, mate.
Fuck, man. It's getting so fucking heavy. Come on then, big boy, let's go. Let's fucking get it. So guys, classic Loki's on nip watch. I love wearing stringers, but hate my nipples coming out. I might as well like tags or something. Classic back training here. So high to low, you know, working in that vertical plane. And then pretty much like a high to low again, working in that kind of the horizontal plane, elbow low. And now elbow high, so like a low to high and an upper back version. You know, so we're working and hitting those planes that the lat works in, the lat contracts in. So the lat wraps you around up that way, pulls you up that way, pulls you down that way. So we're literally just going through those loads and trying to maintain what we were doing before, which is not doing that well into kilos lighter, but here we go. So upper back.
Go, JB. Let's go, mate. Milk it, come on. Come on.
Yeah. Yep. So some really good back connections today. Not much of a pump, but like connecting to the muscle, which is good. Tells me that I'm flat, but I'm not like all the way flat. We're gonna finish up here for lats at least, or for back, with a lat pull down. But we're gonna use this for our upper back. So we're actually gonna be focusing on, you see this from the side angle, rather than like just pulling down here. We're actually gonna pull wide and out wide. This is gonna be like a rear delt rhomboid, just total rear back exercise to finish off. That way we've hit the lat, iliac, way, lower back, through a single arm pull down, through the dual arm pull down, same way through the dual arm, then we've hit an upper back at a low to high, and then we've hit a high to low. So we've nailed across those platforms, those movement patterns, and then we'll move on to, just remember what's next, onto a fucking hip hinge. Let's do this first. Nice one. Good. Nice. Yeah. So guys, final back exercise. Well, I guess I said that last one. This is like a lumbar lower back, total back finisher. I actually do like snatch grip RDL-ish because I want to remove the pressure from my lower back as such, because I just naturally am a little bit weaker through that back. And whenever I do get like heavy on deadlifts, I just fucking pull it back. Like I just pull a fucking disc or bulge it or do something. And so I just try to bring this back, and by putting it last, like you're so fatigued, it's just stupid putting so much weight on. It stops you from putting so much weight on. It forces you to engage the muscle. And it's a pretty big calorie burn at the end of this session, but for me, it's all about just form and getting the most out of this. So let's try. Also, sporting the new midnight range belt, which will be coming out very soon. So you'll see this flicker throughout this week in the vlogs. This is literally my set, and then I'm done. Oh yeah. I was just saying to both Loki and Louis then, I was just saying, my physique from the front is like, it's hard, it's dense. I pose, pretty much things are in proportion, striations, dense. I turn around, you look from the back, I hit a normal men's physique pose, it's thick, it's really good, especially when I'm shredded. Quads stick out from the side, hamstrings are a bit small, glutes are a bit small, they sink away when I get lean. And then as soon as I throw up any type of rear double, which would be the classic, the next step, there's a lot of talk about me going classic. The next step, it sinks away, all of it. You know, and that is just from that lack of density. I was gonna say like specifically from a deadlift. I don't know if it's specifically from not doing a deadlift, but it's from just not loading that plane of motion, that hip hinge in a way that I can do it. I've always veered away from it just from injuries, like I was just saying. But you know, that felt good. I just need to take my time, and I think patience has probably always got the better of me, or impatience has always got the better of me, and I've gone too quickly. So something to think about for the off season. Because have you guys ever seen a rear double shot of me? Someone can find one. You get £100 voucher on one, but I bet you can't. And there's a reason for that. So guys, moving on to biceps. Obviously back is now completely done. Actually, biceps, what I've always learned to do, not always, but what I've learned to do in recent years from the likes of people like John Jewett, No Switch Fitness, Cal, the people who are at the forefront of the industry in terms of biomechanics, is you want to be trying to work elbow forward first, because that works to short range. The most contracted position of the bicep, which is right here, to get here with a load is so difficult. You're just trying to hold it back. So you want to try get there first, and then worry about loading that length and range, which will be when elbow is behind. Just from a fatigue standpoint, like you'll get more out of it if you train that short range first, which is why generally you'll see me either do preacher curl or like a D-handle curl first, because that's a short range movement, and then you'll see me do like a seated dumbbell curl or a behind the back cable curl, and that's what we're doing today. Squeeze them. Come on. Good man. Alright guys, so actually, you know, you might not see me do dumbbells all the time, but sometimes dumbbells do work really well. So this is going to be like a length and range bicep curl. You do want your shoulders to enter into slight extension here, elbows back. But now this lengthening position's already challenged. There's already a weight right there. I know we talked about the nipple issue, but I can't get it right now. So all we're going to do is slightly, you can do this seated, or you can do this with cables that are pulling your elbows back. And all you're going to do here is just come up. That's getting heavy right where your bicep's strong. And as you bring the dumbbell closer to you again, past that axis. So the axis is at the elbow. Heavy, 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 heavy. Now it drops off. That's perfect for a dumbbell. That's perfect for the bicep. So this is a really good option for your bicep for a full range load. Right guys, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my fat burning stack. The thing that I owe all of my shreds to. It's a complete joke. No, it's not all the shreds, but it is a potent stack for fat loss. When you're an assisted athlete, we have things available to us, and I will point out which of these are available to or able to use for natural bodybuilders, but most of these, if not all, are going to be pretty much from the assisted realm. So we've got a few things to look at. Number one, the most notorious, the one that everyone knows about, is going to be clenbuterol. Everyone knows about clenbuterol. Clenbuterol is a beta agonist, beta 2 receptor agonist. So ultimately, it's going to raise body temperature, it's going to increase heart rate, it's going to ultimately increase metabolism, increase your output. It's also noted to have a mild anabolic effect, which is why quite often women would be prescribed clenbuterol rather than something that's very hormonal based. But we know that it's going to create a very potent fat burning environment when you're in a deficit. Now we combine the beta agonist, beta 2 agonist with the alpha adrenergic receptor blocker, yohimbine. This is actually fine to use as a natural athlete. Yohimbine will bind to those receptors, free up adrenaline, noradrenaline, which ultimately has a very similar effect and not as potent, not as strong as clen, but it works on the opposite receptors. So you're targeting the betas, targeting the alphas. It's a really potent combination. Now with yohimbine, I'd recommend starting at 5 milligrams. You could work up to 0.2 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. So for me at 110 kilos, I could be doing like 22, 25 milligrams, which is what I'm doing at the moment. But I started at 5, worked to 10. Over time is a little bit of progression. So you've got clen, you've got yohimbine. Now for me, the assisted user, growth hormone. This is the growth hormone I use. It's Pfizer pharmaceutical grade. I always use pharmaceutical grade. It was such a difference. I noticed I used generic for a very long time. In an off season, bomb in the midsection, switched to pharmaceutical. Literally within days, I noticed the sites I was injecting were just getting smaller and leaner straight away. So I noticed the difference. So I never switched back since. We know that if we use this in a fasted state, alongside clen, alongside yohimbine, alongside a little bit of caffeine actually, which I haven't got right here. Growth hormone going to be putting insulin into the blood system. We're going to be using that first and then going to our fat stores a little bit quicker. Along with growth hormone just increasing the ability of lipolysis, fat cell breakdown. Combining all those things is a very good idea. Now, we touched a little bit on yohimbine. This one is a little bit out there, but topical yohimbine, this comes in the form of vasoburn. This has topical yohimbine in it. It also is combined with capsicum, which is like a heat-inducing cream. There's a few other things that make you hot. You'll put like a little 50-cent piece in your palm. You rub it on the areas that you consider highly fat. Wrap a little sweat belt around it. It will increase blood flow to the area. If you've ingested yohimbine, clen, if you've got the topical yohimbine on, and you've got heat going to that area, there is small research. Now, I don't know whether this is a groundbreaker personally. I don't think it is. I've done preps with that. I've done preps with it. I forget all the time. But more heat to the area, more yohimbine to the area, more of those fat cells targeted. Yeah, so it's a little bit more out there. I'd probably put this like last on your list of things to use, but I've had this for years, which I've just thrown it. Now, L-carnitine, again, you can use this if you're natural, but really you just want to be injecting it. And if you're natural, people don't like injecting things, but L-carnitine, 200 milligrams, 250 milligrams pre-workout, and also pre-cardio. I don't do it anymore because the injections hurt too much because I'm a little bit too lean, but you can use that in a very similar sense to growth hormone. It's going to help encourage the use of ultimately burning through, to those fat stores a little bit quicker. L-carnitine can be something you use as you go through the diet, as you go through that phase. Natural guys, you can't do anything about this, but thyroid will start to come down, testosterone will start to come down. Testosterone won't start to come down for us assisted guys, but thyroid will. That's where thyroid medication comes in, so that we can ultimately, you'll start to notice it come down and we can bring that back up. And then thyroid medication here, which I use a HRT dose, which you can Google very easily, guys, yeah? Which I use a HRT dose just to make sure that my natural thyroid doesn't come down. How did I know that? We did that in a few videos ago. I got a blood test done. So mixed T3, mixed clen, T4, yohimbine, topical yohimbine, L-carnitine, growth hormone. That is like torching fat for fun, and I really noticed the difference. So that is my fat burning stack, guys. Right then, guys, I wanted to just spend a little bit of time here just kind of going through the transformation process. I can't believe it's been 5.5 weeks, just over nearly 6 weeks of dieting now, over 12 kilos down, which is absolutely insane. What I'm going to do here, or what Loki is going to do here, is going to bring the first check-in that I sent Cal 6-7 weeks ago. Now, in that check-in, I am still peak blast, but I'm also got holding body fat here. So relatively speaking, the amount of drugs that I'm taking is like really similar. I'm just taking cutting agents on the other one. So the first check-in right here, this morning, right here. Now you can see the huge difference, particularly in that midsection. You can see right across the top here as well, there's kind of more detail coming through. And what's funny about these transformations is often you look bigger, which is very funny considering you're 12 kilos lighter. I feel like I can jump higher, run faster, and throw further. Maybe not throw further, but I generally look bigger sometimes. And when you're in the gym and you've got a pump and you combine anabolics with a pump, with being very lean, it creates like a super physiological effect on how it looks. You'll see from the current physique, still a little bit of body fat to come off the lower back. Realistically speaking, my front is done. The only thing that needs to change is I need to pull out growth hormone. Now we know that growth hormone can increase like skin thickness because it holds water between the skin, up to 11% actually. So that's a big difference. And I can feel it in my skin. I'm pretty shredded, but I'm not like walnut peeled, and I know that if I just shed like 4 IUs, which is pretty good, of growth hormone, pulled your himbine out, which is at 25 milligrams, which is pretty high as well, and then reduced inflammation in the legs. Remember, I'm pounding a Stairmaster 45 minutes a day, walking 8 kilometers a day. There's a lot of fluid in my legs as well. So realistically speaking, I think off this physique, 2 to 3 kilos of actual body fat. That's about 5 to 6 pounds of body fat. 95% of that is off my back, with a few other bits just to come off. I then think there's another 2 to 3 kilos or 4 to 6 pounds of fluid, actual fluid, subcutaneous fluid across the midsection, which actually sometimes you'll see in those side shots, like my obliques aren't fucking like peeled like normal, you know, because actually there's a film of water over them, and you'll see that kind of everywhere. So I think once we pull that off, pull the extra 3 or 4 kilos off of body fat, we'll be ready. So 3 weeks and 2 days, 23 days left. Let's put everything into this. So guys, we're coming into meal 2. So this is actually second day of refeed. Yesterday I had 750 carb, kept my protein the same and bumped my fats up 15 to 75 of fat as well. The reason why we put my fats up is because actually some fullness comes from intramuscular triglycerides, and that's something that people forget about, that actually fat can bring fullness in the muscle as well. Not as much as carbohydrates, maybe something like 5 to 15% fullness, but there is a little bit there. So taking a 5 to 50% bump in fats, it makes a lot of sense to fill out a little bit. Glycogen was the main focus. Body weight spiked about a kilo or so, which is fine. Like you can probably see, maybe you can see I'm a little bit fuller through here. But when you do start to see me train, you're gonna start to see me blow up a little bit more. And that'll be from the carbohydrates. The reason why I personally refeed, and why potentially some of the signs that you look for a refeed were, cardio was just like unbearable, like to get my legs up and to move for 45 minutes. I still did it every day, but it was so difficult. Training performance started to come down a little bit. Appetite was just like crazy high. Obviously it's going to be high. Sleep was getting affected a little bit. Just general look of pop of muscle was starting to fade a little bit, and we needed to bring some life back in. When we combine that with the rate of loss that I've had, you know, a kilo every 2 or 3 days for the last week or so, it was time to just fill the battery back up for the final time. It'll be 3 weeks out in 2 days time, final push up, and then it'll be like 2 weeks of deficit to get to the final bit of body fat off. Meal 2, 10 of these rice cakes, which is why there's 2 of these out, and just 50 grams of protein from my yogurt like normal. Literally 3 feeds, double normal carbs that you eat. Simple. Normally have bagels, double the bagels. Normally have rice cakes, double the rice cakes. Alright guys, so that is episode, I think we said 6, right? Episode 6 wrapped up, end of the week. Today's Friday, so we kind of try and finish these by Fridays. We've got a couple of days to edit and get them up. Just to give you a rundown of everything that I'm doing at the moment, so you guys can understand what we've been doing. And this has been going on for like the last 6 weeks. So at the moment, at 11,000 steps per day, that ends up about 7.5, 8 kilometers of walking. I try and do most of it on the treadmill. Why? Because I'm at that point where I'm pretty fit and walking doesn't do much, and I speed the treadmill up, so I'm walking a little bit quicker quicker, so heart rate's higher. I do 45 minutes of cardio every single day, which for me ends up about 550, 600 calories, because I fucking hammer it, because I want to get lean and I don't want to do more cardio. So 45 minutes every single day without rest. Pretty difficult. You feel that inflammation build up in the knees, hips, joints, especially when you get very lean. That's it for movement, apart from training 5 times a week. Trying to keep my performance as high as possible, granted. Not as easy anymore. Food-wise, 3,250 calories on training days, 2,750 on non-training days. Now, for a lot of people listening, whoa, 3,000 calories you're cutting, you're so lean. Yeah, but I'm 108 kilos on a lot of steroids, on a lot of thermogenics, and I've been lifting a very long time, and I'm 6'1". So me, relatively, that's very, very low food. It's actually a little bit higher than last year, but to be expected as I am a little bit heavier than last year. So that's where I'm at, 2 rest days a week. Anabolics you guys have already heard about. We'll probably do a full anabolic update next one, because we will start to manipulate estrogen and things like that as we get a little bit closer. So guys, if you've been enjoying the series, thank you so much for tuning in. Keep dropping comments. Remember guys, every single comment will be entered into a 1MR giveaway. I've been messaging people every single week. In fact, only half of them have responded. So guys, if you haven't checked your DMs on YouTube or Instagram, check them out. You might have a message from us from entering the competition for a item of choice. So guys, peace and love. See you in the next video. Bye bye.